Hello, a very good day to you. I'm happy to be here with you once again, Dr. Ramsarran, your host on the PPP program, Getting It Right, when we hope to bring to you the views of the party leadership and membership, and at the same time get guidance and advice from you as you call in. It's a call-in program, and the numbers will be on the screen shortly, including my cell number. My cell number is 623-8696. The operator will put it up. But we continue today with the theme that is dominating the national discussion, the national political arena, and that is what happens now since the government, the Granger, Ramjatan, Nagamutu government has disregarded the CCJ's rulings, and that, of course, we heading stumbling down a precipice, which says that after September the 18th, which is not too far away, the government will become illegal. So we need to highlight that, and we need at the same time to let it be known, particularly to members of the PNC APNU AFC. Hello, welcome to Getting It Right.
Yeah, good day, man. I enjoy your program, man.
All right, well, let me put in two more points, and then we start opening phones, right?
All right, good.
Take it. Thanks for calling. So the government is with its eyes open, and after being warned and continuously being warned by the opposition forces, that is mainly the PPPC, and of course the international community has made some pronouncement that it's going down the wrong path, and that it should accept the ruling of the CCJ. As a matter of fact, on the 21st of December last year, the Prime Minister, right in Parliament, accepted that the government had fallen. When remember, let's go back a little bit of history. The 21st of December last year was when a motion of no confidence against this government was tabled and passed, right? This famous story with Sharon Das, right? That was one of the side points of that, or a major point in that development. So since then, they had accepted it, especially Mr. Nagamutu initially. I think he was one of the first to come forward and recognize that the government had fallen. Now they're not taking the other steps, which are, first of all, the dissolution of the parliament, the resignation of the cabinet, and more importantly, or just as importantly, the starting arrangements for elections, which should have been held within 90 days of that 21st of December date when the motion was successful, the no confidence motion. These are not details that I'm trying to bore you with, but these are things that you need to know, especially as I notice more and more people as we walk around the communities and in the markets, the marketplaces, the mall and so on, more and more they started to understand the importance of this discussion. So, having given you those little details, we'll open up the phone, the lines for calls. The numbers are on the screen, and of course my number is 623-8696. You've seen it there, and you can share your views. The PPP has not been idle since then. We've been having intensive community-based activities, what we term, or what the young people term, and they execute it, the walkabouts, and there's been a tremendous response. The walkabout usually see the distribution of the flyer, okay, and we will be going through point by point. The flyer, of course, details the transgressions of the PNC, APNU, AFC, Granger, Nagamutu, Ramjatan government, and the failures and the corruption and the mistakes made. And on the other side, which the operator will be more interested in showing from time to time, it has a list of many of the things that we will do or reinstate. For example, restore the $10,000 cash grant to school children. The APNU AFC took away $1.67 billion per year, a total of $8.35 billion from our children when they scrapped that scheme. This is despite the PPP that you dismantling your policies. They scrapped the scheme which many parents, even although it is small, relied on or enjoyed. So those are things that the operator will be here from time to time on the screen. The writing might be difficult for you to read it, but these flyers are, as I said, available from any member of the party in your village, in your community. And we have had a massively successful story in visiting homes right across the country. A few weeks back, we went to Linden, a team of over 40 people, and we went to Buxton, I think, a slightly smaller team, and we did the flyer distribution right to the households, right in the markets, and so on. So it's good for you to secure this, and you will keep referring it from time to time. For example, the track record of the PNC, and this is what we want to remind you. What we want you to do if you're a supporter of the PPP or admirer of the PPP is try to win over a neighbor, win over a friend, win over politically who you suspect or you know will be supporting the PNC AFC outfit. Win them over. This is a very reasoned document. Everything is here. All the details are here. For example, the track record of the PNC, the extra PNC APNO AFC, and the younger generation must forgive me. We keep referring to the APNO APNU as the PNC because it's just masquerading as a coalition of forces. Basically, it is the PNC, right? People's National Congress of Boredom fame. So we will be walking through these things: the extravagance, the corruption, right? And imagine the corruption that it was gone to such a level that they were disputing what is the majority, 33 or 34, right? And one convoluted argument. And what is much to his discredit is that the Prime Minister and several other senior members of the government joined into that discussion after the fact, after they had already accepted that the government had fallen. So you would have noticed that the party is mounting massive demonstrations, massive peaceful demonstrations of its members and supporters or well-wishers in strategic locations. For example, outside in Kingston, in the vicinity of the GCOM, the Guy Elections Commission office complex, and then of course more recently in the outside the president's residence, official residence, right by the big gardens. Those are massive activities, and some people estimate that the last one we had as much as 3,500 people coming from across the entire few hours of the activity. And of course we had one in Church Street outside one of the branch offices of the GCOM, Guy Elections Commission, not far from not far from the school there, not far from the bookstore on Church Street. So those are very positive things, and now I'm suggesting that we take it a bit higher, that all of you who are our supporters, members, well-wishers, arm yourself with this, and it's like a prompt sheet. It's like a prompt sheet, like when you're going to do tests or exams and so on, you sometimes walk with some things you want to remind yourselves of. So that's about the aim that we're having today. And you see the topic is, after September 18, the Granger's government will be illegal. The fuller nomenclature, the fuller name or topic would be the Granger Nagamutu Ramjatan government will be legal. So you must keep noting that. We must not let especially these two gentlemen slip off the hook. That is Moses Nagamutu and Kemrat Ramjatan, who with all manner of high-level moralizing and philosophies indicated or tried to fool you why they supported the PNC, why they joined the PNC and to get a slight majority over the PPP. And at the same time, hello?
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Lower the volume, please.
Hello?
Please lower the volume. Go right ahead. Get it right.
I'm calling from City.
All right. Please lower the volume of the television. Okay, thank you so much. Go ahead. Hello? We seem to have missed that, right? Okay, so that all I got out of it is that she's calling from Kitty, but the noise was already excessive. So please, as a little reminder, lower the volume of your television, the sound, so that we can have a quality program on here. Hello? Okay. So you're seeing the numbers there. Sorry we missed that call. Now, so the track record of the PNC is what is being scrutinized. As a matter of fact, hello?
Yes, I'm not getting through with you.
Alright, go ahead. What? You have to get in it right.
Oh my, the noise is too much.
Okay, well, try this later. Or just turn on the television.
I hear you.
Turn down the television, the volume is too high. That's what's causing the feedback. We hear you now, go ahead.
Anna, the ranger wants to live, but he's a grandfather. He should have get the fuck out of there. Because Island Sculpture and free money that they put into the $10,000 is not anymore. So who will vote Billy?
Okay, well,
I'm a single mother. And for 4 months now, ID home can't get a job now. We bring in all the Cubans and the Venezuelans and the Haiti people who have to get jobs. What do you think he can do to do registration to get them? You know, them people have fucked you. Trust me.
No, don't please, we don't use very too colorful language. I think I heard her use that word, a certain word before, but and then she repeated that we must be respectful not only of the program itself, but of the listeners out there. Therefore, we want you to use proper tempered language. Hello, welcome to Getting It Right.
Good day, Mr. Bheri Ramsarran, and I wish you prosperous on this program. But I think the opposition party has a strong intention of rigging the new election. I will give you an example.
The opposition or the ruling party?
The ruling party.
Okay.
The ruling party. If you look or do a survey, or you have your people on the road already, this election what you call when they're doing campaigning now and doing registration. Sorry to use this blatant language to you, right?
Please don't use any foul language. You can be very colorful.
No, not indecent.
Okay, go ahead.
Some languages that I would refer on ethnic side, which I would not see. But some of the people that come and register, like for example, I was at home one day, as in 2 to 3 days ago, and the person's walking and some of the registrants said, okay, you have to get your ID card or your birth certificate. One of the persons said, we don't have, and immediately they walk off and they never go back. I am finding that they're even walking past into houses and going to ask for houses, so that registration could be accurate for them in favor and the rigging process.
Okay, well here, could I comment? That is why you have to win over those neighbors, those friends who you suspect are being specially targeted, because they're Guyanese too. And they're being used, so they might go to one household and not the other household. But that's not the point. The point is that the whole exercise should be called off. And we challenge it.
Yes, I agree, but here's why I believe it should be called off. Like, for example, they're saying that if you don't register, it's a charge. But I don't see it's a democratic, we talk about democratic fee. Is it, what I should say, you should be like, you're forcing me to register and should be charged.
Okay, no, but let me do a brief comment for the wider viewership. There is such a provision, but it cannot be implemented if half of the nation just said, well, what are you here? And basically, the chairman who issued those instructions has already been knocked out of the place and has been replaced by a very able woman, right? A very able woman, right? The justice, right? So let's see how she probably is now getting to the ropes.
I am saying that this election will be rigged if you people don't open your eyes strongly, dedicatedly, and heavy focus on the different departments, the GCOM or the passport offices, which is the ministry department, comes under Mr. Civics. Sorry, thank you, and goodbye.
Okay, thanks for a very good call, and thanks for giving us some directions on some things that we should do. Of course, that's another part, a subset of the discussion that many people might want to raise today. The fear or the apprehension that people, certain foreigners are living in Guyana temporarily are being registered in some cases, given ID cards, right? So we need to look at that, but the fact is, if you're vigilant, right? If you're vigilant and if you keep the international community aware too, it will be more and more difficult for them to rig the elections. Not that they won't try. It's by name and nature, this government as a party, the party in Rowan Paul, has rigging in its DNA, in its bloodline, right? So while we're expecting that, we must at the same time by being complacent and not watchful, encourage it or help it along. And the next thing is, the gentleman indicated that the canvassers, the enumerators that have been sent out by GCOM are sometimes selective. We got to be careful about that suspicion, that it is indeed so, that is not just part of our fear and discomfort with the process, which is prompting us to see that or say that or observe that. Hello, welcome to Getting It Right.
Very good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
I want to find out something. This thing bothering me for a long time. I asked a lot of people, and I'm not getting a positive answer. what is the purpose of this thing of social promotion? In my opinion, let me finish talking and then I want to...
Yeah, go ahead. You go ahead. Go ahead.
My understanding the Household Association as a habit and practice on the national television. If you're not registered, you have to be registered. Or if you registered, you have to be registered, or you'll be charged and paid before the court or imprisonment. The purpose of registration, what I feel, is that those persons who have not yet been registered ought to be registered because it's their democratic right to be registered. So they could have a valid identification card for them to transact any legitimate business otherwise, so to speak. And I don't see why is it they are saying that you have to be charged or you have to be registered. So what is the purpose of being registered again when you're already in possession of a national identity card which gives it authority to go to transact any business? Explain that to me, please.
Yeah, okay, well these are some of the nuances that are coming out, right? Apparently every time we get an interaction with persons like this, we get another bit of information, right? Coming out. And one of the bits of information on a subset of teams is the fact that the teams are, some select teams of GCOP reportedly, I'm choosing my words very carefully, reportedly are pressuring people to do the process with the claim that you can get charged, right? But the opposition leader himself has indicated that we are not cooperating with the process, so probably they should go charge him for inciting some breaking the law or something like that. So you have to be careful, right? And the best thing that some other citizens and contacts have been suggesting is that you simply do not engage them. There must be no custom, no chasing, because they're desperately trying to find an excuse that their teams were attacked. Apparently in some backyard they went recently and 2 stray dogs ran out, or 2 the mongrels, the village dogs ran out and bark at them, and they said that somebody sicked the dogs on them. It didn't happen again, right? And I tell you, since I'm a veteran and doing house campaigns and visiting, I give you the example last week when me and Mr. Jeff De Silva, who was one of our ambassadors overseas, but when he was in Guyana before being on assignment, we went in Kitty, right? I think it's Dennis Lamar Street Kitty. And he entered the yard, although I tell him be careful, and some dogs ran out and them bite him. We said the owners sick the dogs because he was doing party work, right? So it's absurd, and we want you to say that we reject it, and from the evidence available now, this is just a way of the GCOM trying to put the opposition in bad light, right? So please keep away from them. You don't want to get registered, stay in your house. Right? You know, one person said it to me jokingly, let them do like they do, or advise them to do like they do when the landowner turn up or the landlord turn up for rent. They lock up their house and it's quiet, right? But that's just an aside, that's a bit more of a funny way of putting it. So you do not need to cooperate because we are challenging even the chairman who issued the orders, he's gone because it was said that it was done illegally. His appointment was not correct. Okay? So we need to get the sequence of your discussion so that when you are in your communities or in church, Monday mosque, or at parties or at the gas station, the market, you will be able to enlighten others as to what is the position. It's not that the PPP just resisting, right? Because we are seeing this, the door-to-door registration, house-to-house registration, as a ploy for two reasons. One, to create a list that is rigged, right? Secondly, to probably more importantly, to buy time, because I can tell you I was the chief scrutineer and the deputy chief scrutineer of the party, and then in charge of parts of Georgetown the last elections. Therefore, we know what is the skullduggery, right? A simple name spelling incorrectly. For example, you see my name on the screen, Ramsaran. Some people spell it Ramsarran. A simple mistake like that would have to go through a whole process, and that takes time. So the skullduggery of it is, as I just said, it's a way of applying to buy time to stay in government, and some of my more forward supporters say to continue the thieving and the high living by these fat cats, right? So since accepting on the 21st of December in Parliament, since accepting that the government had fallen, they've now started to recant that. They now started to push that back, including Nagamutu, and saying the cabinet will not resign, the president will not resign, and they will not set a timetable for elections, right? But the CCJ has upset that, the Caribbean Court of Justice, which has ruled in favor of doing what's constitutionally correct, which would be what, again, let's repeat it, after the 21st of December, within 90 days, they were supposed to have arrangements in place for elections. Hello, welcome to Getting It Right.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, thanks for waiting.
I can't understand what guys are with us because, you know, these Asian companies, they're working all over the place.
Okay, you know of that, personally?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, we gotta keep an eye on it. And as a matter of fact, Haiti is special, right? Though, so we shouldn't allow the mischief of this government to force us to lose sight of the historic meaning of Haiti. Haiti was the first black free republic in the world and in the Western Hemisphere most likely. So it's good. We're not against Haitians, but we're against them being misused for fraudulent electoral purposes.
I know where they work is. I can tell you where they work is.
Okay. But why we don't have a chat on that after I'll be here for the next 2 hours after the program is ended?
For the same 226?
Yeah, or I'll be here, right? And on the cell phone.
Right, I'll start with 226 or 310.
Okay, yes.
Right.
Yeah, right. And especially to that caller, do not get emotional when they're interacting with anybody. That would be a good way to give them excuses to say that the process is under attack. Just keep away from them. Do as I jokingly said, when you see the landowner come and you rent, you disappear. Mom, right? That's just aside. You have your rents regularly. So this is where we're at. The process is being abused. The Elections Commission has implemented the currently existing and ongoing house registration for a so-called new list. Now, the previous caller brought up that point, and I want to expand on it. A new list, yes, they want to make a new list. But why can this list not be worked with? Why the list allegedly is bloated? Well, how do you know it's bloated? And what do you do to get those bloating names off? Simple. You can do a desktop evaluation and remove people who are dead. Only dead, not people who are overseas, who overseas studying, who overseas in business, who overseas on social matters like attending weddings or funerals or so on. So the category of person that can be legitimately deleted or taken off the list is fairly easy to manage. The GPO, or at the GPO building of the office complex, there is something called the register, an office called the register of the person deaths, and that is more or less an effective way of getting information as to who are actually dead. Okay. As a matter of fact, the system under the PPP was drastically improved. Remember, years and years ago, you used to have to line up to get a birth certificate, line up to get a copy of this paper and that paper right at the same office. It's working by far better. And what could we be? One of the factors helping that is because a lot of its processes are now computerized, right? So I want you to think on this suggestion, even as you listen to the program. One of the arguments, or the argument, is you do not need house-to-house registration. One, that same list was used without complaint only recently in the local government elections, and the PNC or APNU, AFC, nobody complained on it, right? And nobody discovered that any dead people voted. That at a polling station because somebody was dead but still on the list voted. So it's a simple process, and anybody who's acquainted with IT, the computer world, will recognize that it's easy to do what we're saying, what President Jagdeo and the PPP is saying, what I'm saying now on this program, right? Hello? Okay, so the battle is now on for in the party. We're preparing for elections anytime. We're going to be ready, and at the same time, in the wider society, you need to try to win over some of those persons who you suspect are wavering and who might be pushed away from the PPPC's campaign or platform and still vote PNC of the AFC. But I'll tell you, recently the party has been pushing house-to-house visits by its members and supporters, all dressed up in a nice red t-shirt, the red t-shirt people. They come and they bring the flyer, right? and we've done. I've been on several of those. In Sophia, for example, right, where people might have had apprehensions that we would not be kindly received. There was not a single. I went there for several days, as a matter of 10 successive days, morning and afternoon, with a small team. And we had no cuss down, no chase out, nobody loose dogs on us, and so on and so on. But they were many of them were saying they're sorry how they vote, and some of them saying even they're sorry that they didn't vote, because they were that's the next category we got to look at. People who didn't vote but could have voted, and we need to try to mobilize them for this time, for the elections coming up. Whenever it's finally announced, we need to look at that, especially young people, right? So those are things we can be doing now, while at the same time every now and then perusing our, let's call it cheat sheet or a prompter, which says all Guyanese must demand that the APNU AFC respect the Constitution. That's the first thing, and this is what the CCJ actually instructed them to do. We don't have, the court says we don't have to tell you what date. Go and implement what you're supposed to implement in the Constitution, which we are upholding, and following the no confidence vote, which we are recognizing, the court is recognizing as being valid, and then everything is written there. So this Mama Guyan cacophony by Granger that the date isn't announced and so on, and the heating budget and that is sheer nonsense, because the CCJ said go back to your Constitution and implement it. And of course, that's why we have today's topic by September the 18th. That's the follow date, the drop dead date for the calling of the elections under this arrangement. Remember, it was in court, so it was sub judice, so you could not have acted in a certain way. Now, since the court has made a decision that the December 21st resolution or motion was correct, you have to start it. And the last date for being successful and being constitutional is September the 18th. Hello, welcome to Getting It Right.
Dr. Bheri, how are you?
Good afternoon, thanks for coming.
I just joined your program here. I'm not sure what I missed, but what I would like to know is this the new household registration list here to confirm and going with, or is it the list that is can go to claims and objection?
Oh, you mean the list that exists?
Yeah, the list that exists, the claim and objection list.
Okay.
The claim at the time has passed.
Yeah,
Or
but
they're going to go with the new household registration.
But the time has passed, but the claims and objection period can satisfy that, right? If the list don't get dated, half the population doesn't disappear because a piece of paper become dated from the 31st of one month to the 1st of the next month, right?
Right.
And besides that, well, but the point is, it's still valid. The point is, why did they then not take action based on the 31st of December, the 21st of December, resolution in
Alright, we all don't need to go over this again. We know it's a waiting game and they had their plans to get it expire. But my point is, the new list that they're starting with this whole household registration, current one, there is any way that is going to go through, or we're going to go back to that?
Well, it's still in the courts, right?
It's still in court, right?
And if
that is what I didn't sure I missed that.
Right. So if our case, our position wins, it means that all information will have to be scrapped.
Another thing came in my mind. The GCOM chair. I think the GCOM chair should not have waited from the court to announce on that pending decision. They should have already made arrangement to go ahead.
Well, that's a good point you have there, but the point is, billions have been spent in GCOM recently, and they should be ready. As a matter of fact, they had indicated they were ready, and that is only the instruction that they got from Patterson. So you're correct, but the main thing in the meantime, let me use your call to say this. I see the red light is on. We'll have to run. We are now also recruiting and training election day officials. This is voluntary, no payment, so that you need to look at that.
Let me mention this one thing before you go.
Okay.
The longer President Granger takes to hold the election, is the farther he'll get beat.
Okay. Well, let's mobilize for that. Right. Thank you. That was a nice long call with several points. But so I'm hoping to use that gentleman's call to prompt me to say this, to remind you that elections day, regardless when it comes, it must come sometime within a reasonable future. We need to have staff. We need to have the parties mobilize its election war room, and it's fully staffed with the computers and about a dozen young people there working. And of course, the number you can get it on, you can through me, my number is on the screen, or 2272095, the Freedom House number. And so we're looking for volunteers. The emphasis here is the word volunteers, people who will be able to take training to become polling agents on the elections day, and so on and so forth. So we're looking forward to that, and we're fighting back, because I seem to have discovered or identified a new hype in the resolution of the Guyanese population. They want to fight back, and many of them are coming forward when they meet me on the road, or when you're in the market or the supermarket, and they are volunteering information, right? And the next point we need to look at, besides asking you for your support to identify those people, and I keep saying young people, but it doesn't mean you old folk are not engaged, but young people will be somewhat more agile, right? So that's what we have to look at, and at the same time we have to keep our eyes on the rumors so far. I like to be generous and call it rumors, of foreigners being certified, given ID cards, right, so that they can part the list. So I'll have to say bye-bye now. Thank you for being with us. See you next week, noon, right here on NTN. Goodbye.